You don't have to search long to realize that maybe I'm into anime games. And yet, even though we're surrounded by Naruto, Dragon Ball, My Hero, and Demon Slayer games, there are a few big shows that I'm constantly surprised by the lack of video games for. Now, a lot of these do make it to mobile, and if you're into those games, I mean, you have a lot to enjoy. But to me, I'm more into that big console game side of things. Call me old-fashioned. And today, I'm asking some questions like, where the hell are these games? How are these shows so popular, and yet no games are getting made? Now, technically, a lot of the games on the list I have for you today are covered by a potential crossover game. There's a big rumor that CC2 is making a new Jumpstars, and I hope it's true, but for now it's just a rumor. That is indeed a clever solution to grab fans from all of these shows that just don't have games yet, just like Jump Force was. A great idea, just not a great execution. And I'll start by setting some expectations for this video. A Hunter x Hunter game would absolutely blow up in my opinion, but it's not a safe bet. With the show going in and out of hiatus, you don't know what the future of this series is, and that's the kind of game that I'm not talking about today. Death Note was one of the biggest shows of all time, but it's now past its prime, so that would also be a big risk in my opinion. So shows like that, Fullmetal Alchemist, Parasite, Hajime no Ippo, I think they would all give us fantastic games, but today is all about the safe bets. All of these games would be slam dunks, just like the AGC Discord is a goddamn slam dunk for anime game fans right now. We just had a fantastic Dragon Ball FighterZ tournament hosted by Trader that brought together the fighting game community and the anime game community. And this weekend, Ichunka is gonna host our first Demon Slayer tournament. A lot more TOs have joined the server ever since we opened it up and are getting more tournaments ready for you. And during the month of June, we're going to be adding a new game to our roster. And if you want to be a part of choosing what game that is, make sure to join. We've got more than 1,000 people in the first week alone. I cannot wait to blow this up even further beyond. Link down below. Jujutsu Kaisen. This is one of the most versatile shows out there. You can make an RPG. I mean, they're doing that for mobile actually. So you definitely can. You can make an open world. You can make character creation. You can make a stylish hack and slash game. You can make a fighting game. You can make an arena fighter. JJK is not only one of the most popular shows right now, it's one of the most versatile to be adapted into video game format. I would say that out of all the games on this list, this one has to have something in development right now. But then I also look at the rest of the list that I have ahead of me and I'm like, okay, maybe I could say the same thing about all of these games. That's the kind of game we're talking about today. JJK was the first one. Let's move on to the second. Attack on Titan. Now, technically, Attack on Titan has had a couple of console games in the past, but I cannot believe the anime is going to end and the most recent console game we have is Attack on Titan 2, the Musou game. Like seriously, nothing has been done since 2018. The anime has not only stayed active, it's been growing in popularity over time. It still baffles me that no one has done anything with this license ever since. Now there is a new VR game on the horizon, and this is a concept trailer, not actual gameplay, and I think VR Attack on Titan makes a lot of sense. Fan games have done something similar too. But this, like a lot of other VR games, does seem very limited in scope. And I get it, Attack on Titan has become more than just zipping around with your ODM gear and slicing titans in the back of the neck. But honestly, that single concept still works really well. I mean, look at the VR game, it's still that. It looks based on season 1 of the show, to be honest. So if you want to make something that's a bit more multiplayer focused this time around, utilizing not only the blades, but the thunder spears or other weapons, a bit like the fan games do right now, I think you could have a banger of a game in your hands. I mean, Fortnite has a really good ODM system. No joke, Epic could effortlessly make an awesome Attack on Titan game right now if they wanted to. They take the ODM system they already have and they just create a custom map, done. Drop players in, limit the weapon choice. You've got an Attack on Titan Battle Royale, but you can't really afford Epic, so that's probably not happening. Chainsaw Man, I can easily see this becoming one of the biggest shows on the face of the earth in the near future. Which means if you're developing a video game, you should have started yesterday. Chainsaw Man is just asking for a hardcore action game filled with gore and creative boss fights for you to plow through with your chainsaw arms, which also puts it in a weird place. Anime games are usually marketed towards a younger audience, and making a game that is just filled with gore, it's gonna make its rating a little bit more strict. And that can be perceived as a problem, but I mean, who else are you marketing your anime for? Besides, we've got plenty of success stories in gaming with gore. Mortal Kombat and Grand Theft Auto are probably the biggest ones I can think of, and while it is unrealistic to expect a Chainsaw Man game to hit those numbers, depending on the game's quality, I think it could do extremely well too. Japan is sometimes afraid of rating a game too high in terms of age, so I don't know what will happen. We'll see. Ever since I played the Captain Tsubasa game, I've wanted these developers to tackle another sports anime, Haikyuu. The way they've blended real football with anime superpowers is the perfect way to build this volleyball game. Haikyuu is one of the best shows in the entire world in my opinion, simply because it had the ability to make me like volleyball. And I thought that was impossible. A game with the flashiness of Tsubasa while retaining some of the strategy of real volleyball would just be the perfect formula for a Haikyuu game for me. And the anime is coming to an end soon. soon. So we don't have a lot of time to put this game out, do we? Also, you do need to work on the online because if it's the same as Tsubasa, I'm afraid it's gonna be a pass for me. While on the subject of sports, I guess this one won't surprise you, but Blue Lock could also be great. I think Blue Lock has the potential to make a very different game from Tsubasa, and no, I don't mean like the mobile game. What the hell am I even looking at here? Blue Lock is at its core another football game, yes. But I feel that because of the format of the show, it can be a lot more creative with the way you play it. It doesn't always have to be a football match. I mean, the way the show started was last man to touch the ball gets eliminated. So imagine this in a multiplayer setting. A bunch of players just trying to hit each other with a ball before time runs out. Blue Lock can be really creative with its game modes, and I think that potential alone makes me really excited about this idea. But enough about sports games, let's get back to the big stuff. Where is the Bleach video game? How have Bleach games been so consistently garbage when this is one of the biggest shows of all time? The 1,000-Year Blood War is giving us one final chance for a Bleach video game. And at this point, I don't even care what it is anymore. It could be anything. An action hack and slash game, an open world with character creation, an arena fighter, a 2D fighting game. I'll play any of them. Bleach is an insane IP. It's so versatile to make a video game for as well. It's actually crazy that nothing has been announced so far. We're getting close to season 2 starting, and there's only 4 seasons in total. We're gonna run out of time soon. What are we waiting for? It needs to happen right now. Spy Family has become too big to be ignored at this point. But what kind of game could we get from this show? After thinking about this for a while, I think you would mainly play from the perspective of Lloyd. But you would also have sections where you play as Anya and Yor. You know how you play as Spider-Man in most of the Spider-Man games? But then you have those Mary Jane sections? Yeah, so it's like that, but you play as Yor, so those sections are not lame. I'm thinking third-person action-adventure game with the main plot being you playing as a spy, infiltrating into different places, gathering intel, or taking out targets, a bit like Hitman. I think that would be a nice format, with the occasional section of you playing as Yor on an assassination mission or Anya trying to survive school life. One Punch Man has a new season in the works, a season that promises to bring this anime back to its greatness. And yes, the previous game was also a burning mess, but that does not mean that this show is done in video games. It still has an incredible roster of characters capable of building an awesome fighting game or arena fighter. Of course, you always have the Saitama problem to solve. How can you include a playable character that can defeat anyone with one punch and call it a balanced game? And the solution is simple. You don't make Saitama playable. But no one's gonna be brave enough to put out a One Punch Man game without Saitama playable, and most likely Shueisha would never approve something like that. I bet a lot of you watching this video right now actually think that this is a terrible idea. How are you gonna make a One Punch Man game without Saitama? I want to play as Saitama. But the end result is something like a hero nobody knows. So I truly think that Saitama not playable is actually the move. I'm not saying he shouldn't be in the game, just don't make him a playable character. Making a One Punch Man game is really tricky, but I think it should still be done. Okay, and before the final anime that I have on my list, here are some shows that are maybe not as big, but would definitely work really well with a smaller budget. It's a quick fire round. Go. Dr. Stone, an open world crafting and building game. Think of a Minecraft, but with a bigger focus on physics and chemical reactions. Vinland Saga, honestly, the only show on this list I haven't watched yet. I know, I'm working on it. But it's Vikings, come on, it writes itself. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. I can see a Dragon Quest style RPG with some town management elements, a bit like Ni no Kuni perhaps, but with a protagonist that can absorb powers. And finally, Ranking of Kings. I can see a Dragon Quest style RPG with some town management elements, a bit like Ni no Kuni perhaps. Wait a minute. Oh no, it doesn't have a protagonist that can absorb powers. It's different. We're safe. Berserk. How does a colossal beast of a manga like this only produce a Muso as a console game and nothing else? I mean, a Muso actually fits Berserk pretty well, but this wasn't even that good of a Muso game. That said, I don't think any Berserk game would ever be satisfying to its fans. Not because the fans are very demanding or anything, no. It's because, well, this game exists, and this one, and this one. And they kind of do everything they need to scratch that Berserk itch. Of course, you have to kind of build your character in a specific way. I mean, after all, these are games where you could just play as a literal wizard. But the director Miyazaki has said multiple times that he is a massive Berserk fan, and that Berserk has had a big influence on his games. And let's be honest, we're not gonna get a Berserk game that's better than anything From Software has ever made. And there you have it. I've lost count at this point, but I think it was a total of 13 anime that absolutely need a game right now. And again, these are only the slam dunks. These are the guaranteed success stories. There are some riskier ones that I think would still have a very good chance of being massive, like the AGC Discord is becoming. This is the place that brings anime game communities together with a focus on competition. We've got many tournaments lined up and ready to go for the rest of the month, and we're gonna be adding another game to our roster, so if you want to have a say on what game that is, make sure to join the Discord. The link is down below. I think a big obstacle that anime games face all the time is having to work with a license holder. License holders are traditionally horrible to build video games with. Most of these licenses would belong to Shueisha, who does not have a good reputation for that. But if you'd like to know a little bit more of how this works, check out this video on what happened to Kill la Kill If. Instead of Shueisha, we're talking about Studio Trigger here and how involved they were in making that Kill la Kill game and how much of a nightmare it was. Thanks for watching. Bye.